Have you ever judged something before you even tried it? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you a story that is spicier than a plate of sambal belacan. It's a tale of cultural clashes, culinary discoveries, and how one bite can completely change your world. This all started with a post that went viral. An Australian tourist, let's call him Mark, came to Malaysia. And let's just say his first impressions of our food weren't exactly glowing. He posted online, and I quote, "What is with Malaysian food? It all looks like a brown, sludgy mess." A brown, sludgy mess, can you believe it? He went on to say it all looked the same, and he could untell one dish from another. As you can imagine, Malaysians online did not take that kindly. The comment section exploded. People were defending our national pride, our culinary heritage. You had people saying, "You haven't tried the right things," and "Don't judge a book by its cover, mate." It was a full-blown digital war over food. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Instead of getting defensive and doubling down, something incredible happened. A local foodie, a guy named Rizal, saw Mark's post. Instead of just firing back with an angry comment, Rizal saw an opportunity. He replied to Mark, but not with anger. He said, "Hey Mark, I see you're not impressed. I'm sorry you feel that way. How about you let me show you what you're missing? I'll be your personal food guide. My treat." Now, Mark could have ignored him. He could have thought it was a trick, or just kept complaining. But he didn't. He was a bit skeptical, but he agreed. And that's when the real adventure began. The next day, Rizal picked Mark up, not to take him to a fancy 5-star restaurant, but to a place that every Malaysian knows and loves. A bustling, noisy, wonderfully chaotic Mamak stall. The moment they arrived, you could see the hesitation on Mark's face. The plastic chairs, the cacophony of sounds, the steam rising from a dozen different woks. It was a total sensory overload. Rizal, cool as a cucumber, just smiled and said, "Welcome to the real Malaysia." He didn't hand Mark a menu, he just started ordering. 1 roti canai, garing, banj, 1 ditarik karang manis, and a plate of Maggi goreng. Mark looked completely lost. He watched as the ditarik puller masterfully stretched the tea, creating that perfect frothy top. He saw the roti master flip the dough in the air, a mesmerizing dance of skill and heat, before it landed on the hot griddle, puffing up into golden, flaky perfection. This wasn't just cooking, it was a performance. And then the food arrived. The first dish was roti canai. It didn't look like a brown, sludgy mess. It was golden, crispy, and served with 3 different types of dal and curry. Rizal showed him how to tear off a piece with his hands and dip it. Mark took his first bite. And folks, you could see it on his face. The confusion melted away, replaced by pure, unadulterated surprise. His eyes went wide. He chewed slowly, processing the explosion of flavors, the flaky pastry, the savory, spiced lentils. He looked at Rizal and just said, "Wow, okay, this is really good." That was just the beginning. Next came the Maggi goreng, the instant noodles, elevated with egg, vegetables, a spicy, sweet, and savory sauce, all wok fried to perfection with that smoky wok aroma. Mark, the guy who complained about brown sludge, was now eagerly slurping down noodles like a seasoned local Kiev, was laughing, asking what was in the sauce, what made it so addictive. Rizal just grinned, the proud host watching his guest fall in love with his culture, one bite at a time. This Mamak stall was just day 1. Rizal had a whole itinerary planned. The next day, they hit a morning market. The sights, the sounds, the smells. Mountains of tropical fruits Mark had never seen before, mangosteen, and the king of them all, durian. Mark was brave, I'll give him that. He tried a piece of durian. His reaction was priceless, a mix of shock and intrigue. He didn't love it, but he respected it. He finally understood why it's called the king of fruits. From there, it was a whirlwind tour of Malaysian cuisine. They went to a hawker center for lunch. Rizal introduced him to char kway teow with its smoky noodles, juicy prawns, and crunchy bean sprouts. He had him try Hanani's chicken rice, the deceptively simple dish of poached chicken and fragrant rice that is pure comfort. Mark was amazed at how something so pale could be so flavorful. He was learning that, in Malaysian food, looks can be incredibly deceiving. The magic is in the marinade, the spices, the technique. The next stop was a Nyonya restaurant in Malacca. Here, Mark discovered the beautiful fusion of Chinese and Malay culinary traditions. He tasted ayam pongte, a savory chicken and potato stew, and was blown away by the complex, tangy, and spicy flavors of Asam Petta's fish curry. He was seeing the history and the culture of Malaysia reflected on his plate. Each dish told a story of trade, migration, and adaptation. He was no longer just a tourist eating food. He was experiencing a living history lesson. And of course, no Malaysian food tours is complete without our national dish, Nasi Lemak. But Rizal didn't take him to just any place. He took him to a legendary little stall, run by an elderly lady who had been making it the same way for over 40 years. Mark saw the fragrant coconut rice, the fiery sambal, the crispy anchovies, the hard-boiled egg, and the fried chicken. It was a complete meal on a banana leaf. He took a bite, mixing everything together as Rizal instructed. And that was the moment. The final conversion. He put down his fork, looked at Rizal, and just shook his head in disbelief. He said, "I have been so wrong. This is one of the most incredible things I have ever eaten. The balance of sweet, spicy, savory, and creamy. It's a symphony." He wasn't just eating food anymore, he was having an experience. At the end of the week, Mark went back online. But this time, his post was very different. He posted a long, heartfelt apology. He wrote about his initial ignorance and his incredible journey with Rizal. He posted photos of every single dish he had tried, describing the flavors in detail. He called Malaysian food one of the world's most underrated and delicious cuisines. He urged every one of his followers to visit Malaysia, not just for the beaches, but for the food. His new post went even more viral than the first one. But this time, the comments were filled with love, forgiveness, and invitations from Malaysians all over the country to come and try their local specialties. Rizal became a local hero. People hailed him as a true ambassador of Malaysian hospitality. He didn't fight fire with fire. He fought ignorance with kindness, generosity, and a plate of damn good food. This story isn't just about food. It's about opening our minds and our hearts. It's about how easy it is to judge from a distance and how powerful it is to connect on a human level. Mark came to Malaysia looking for a simple vacation, but he left with a profound understanding of a new culture. And it all started because one person chose to share his passion instead of his anger. So, the next time you travel, or even just encounter something new in your own city, don't be a before Mark, be an after Mark. Be curious, be open, and be ready to have your world changed by a single bite. Because, as this story proves, food is so much more than just fuel. It's culture, it's history, it's connection, and sometimes it's the most delicious apology you'll ever taste. What's a food that completely changed your mind about a certain cuisine? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read your stories. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.